accident, you need a lawyer, and you deserve an advocate. Because every accident has a ripple effect. It affects your time, your health, your ability to make money, everything. That's where the advocates can help. Thanks to our decades of experience, we know what your case is worth, and we'll fight to get you every penny you deserve. Consultations are simple and always free, because you're not just a client to us, you're a person, and you deserve the best help you can get. You deserve an advocate.
It's not a matter that you talked my wife into a Subaru. Okay, that's not it.
This is the Monty Show.
That's
the
not your
truth in
worst
sports
sin.
talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find the Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, Monty. I'm giving you the floor, dude.
Welcome into the Subaru show here on the Monty program. It's going to be a long week in my life. The Monty Show, as always, presented by The Advocates. TheAdvocates.com. You guys get to your local Red Cross office, donate blood, and use the sponsor code AdvocatesSLC. They're doing a great blood drive with the Red Cross this month, you guys. Hook it up. It is such a good cause. It is so important in our country. When your wife buys a Subaru and it essentially is a bloodletting, you need to replenish. And the only way to do that is if we all give blood to the Red Cross. Use the sponsor code AdvocatesSLC. AdvocatesSLC. Somebody yesterday, one of you greedy hyenas, well, you're going to give me an Amazon gift card if I donate blood? Sure, why not? Tag me on Instagram. Tag me on Twitter of you giving blood, and I will absolutely give you an Amazon gift card. Probably not. Maybe. Sort of.
Yeah.
Advocates SLC is your sponsor code at the Red Cross. Hello. Good Wednesday morning to you. We will talk about the car buying thing because we're keeping it real on the car buying thing.
Uh-huh.
And you have...
Listen, I've done you a favor. Okay. I've done you a favor.
I just do.
That's
things.
right. That's right.
Listen, we're going to have to get into that. Good morning, everybody. Let's give some shout outs. Who's in first this morning? Oh, Mountain Mama. Mountain Mama. Neil Brown needs fired. Congratulations on Neil Brown. You see on the bottom line, Neil Brown. It's official now. Gets a
how, dude?
A 1-year contract extension.
That's right.
Is that a vote of confidence?
Not sure that it is, sir.
Come on, man. Hit that like button right meow, boy. Hey, boy.
Mm-hmm.
Please, even if you're in Tarrant County, boy. Hello, Pete Forte. Second in, second like. Hit the like button. Easy to do. I agree. Big Daddy Magic Chaboy got worked by Sengun last night.
Yes, he did.
How?
The way.
Oh, I got Big Daddy Magic sending me videos of himself. Oh, man, every superstar in the NBA wants to play with Victor Wembanyama. LeBron's coming. Kevin Durant's coming.
Right.
They're all going to San Antonio to play with Victor. I told you, Monty.
Right.
Now, he will be the rookie of the year. And he is doing things that we have never seen a rookie. And it's because we've never seen a giraffe play in the NBA. And it's pretty amazing. You know, the circus comes to town. You got a giraffe dunking a basketball. Who knew?
Yeah. Who the hell knew?
But isn't he shooting 40% from three now in the last, I think 6 weeks? Like, Victor's having a way. Good to see you, Big Daddy Magic. Always appreciate you. OG Gary.
Gare Bear.
Gare Bear, the Garinator. Super League will probably happen starting next round of realignment. Folks, let's hop on board. Get into it right here on the Monty Show. Is the College Football Super League real? Did a lot of digging on this yesterday. And first of all, I think the thing that's really important is nobody's going to call it a Super League, just so we're aware. And I think what's really funny, you can always smoke out the frauds in the, I got sources, bro, when they're all using the term Super League. Now, to his credit, Andy Staples at On3 Sports, and Everything you hate about On3, completely wrong about realignment. Like, they got almost nothing right. Andy Staples is pretty good at what he does, right? Andy Staples at On3 has coined the term Super League. And essentially what is going around the world is that, hey, the Big Ten and the SEC are going to pull out of the NCAA, and we're going to talk about that. But the bottom line is, this is not new. No news broke yesterday or Monday. No news broke on a Super League. That's a complete fabrication. This is nothing more than the God tier coming to fruition. It's not shocking. It's not surprising. It's what we've been talking about for 3 months on this show, that the Big Ten and the SEC are going to power play to get more money and to get a better shot at the college football playoff. Talking to our sources last night, I don't think there's any doubt that this Super League that the guys at On3 and Andy Staples are putting out there, I think that's a cool model. But from what I understand and what I've been told by sources well-placed in this process, is that they are going to model the God tier after the NFL. You're going to essentially have the Big Ten and the SEC and whatever that winds up being called, modeling themselves after the AFC and the NFC and the NFL. Your best team plays our best team for the college football championship, period. Now, there are a whole lot of variables involved in this. ESPN will play a significant role in the formation of and the execution of this next iteration of college football. ESPN truly controls the levers in this because of how much land they own. And a lot of people are writing off the ACC as just this thing that's going to melt down, and Florida State this and Clemson that. The reality is they all owe ESPN money, period. End of story. They have a contract with ESPN that lasts until the next millennium, I believe. And if you look at where ESPN sits with the ACC, ESPN will dictate what goes on in the ACC and where Florida State ends up and where the majority of those other schools end up. Now, the reality is, and what a lot of people don't want to talk about, in what the meatheads and the I don't know what you call them, the vultures, who put all this bullshit out there about college football and $800 million. And the reality is Fox and ESPN have a very strong working relationship. I was talking to a very high source in the television world last night who was saying that, hey, ESPN and Fox talk several times a month on a calendar. Like Jimmy Pitaro, and they have a meeting that takes place on a regular basis where they talk about strategies, where they talk about ways to align themselves, especially in college football. Because one of the things that I also think is an absolute fabrication is that somehow Tony Petitti and Greg Sankey are controlling all of this. They don't control anything singularly. They control nothing on their own. Without their TV partners, they can't make a move. And I think you need to remember that. Now, again, I will tell you the same thing that I think we've said on this show for the better part of 90 days. A God tier is coming to college football. There is too much money and too much control continues to move towards the athlete and away from the old men that currently run the infrastructure of college football. But I think one of the other things that is so important to talk about is the NCAA is not going away. The Big Ten and the SEC are not pulling out of the NCAA. Because I think what Greg Sankey, and I think Greg Sankey said it the other day on Paul Feinbaum's show, again, we need national regulation to continue to grow college football as an American sport. It is not this thing where the SEC and the Big Ten are trying to take over. What they are attempting to do is gain more leverage. That's what this God tier is all about. They want more leverage to make more money, to gain more talent, to have almost exclusive access to the best athletes in college football. And that only happens with a regulatory body in place. Greg Sankey, to a lesser extent, Tony Petitti, because I do think that Tony Petitti's inexperience here is why the SEC and the Big Ten have an alliance in the first place. But Greg Sankey is well aware that you need a national regulatory body to fall back on. They can't, and they have no desire to do this on their own. But Jake, I don't think there's any question. a God tier is coming to college football.
100%. And I think it's good for college football. I think it's necessary. I think it is the evolution of the sport. We're no longer in, oh man, these kids just go to school and their little hobby is playing football. We're not in those days anymore. That's been over with. And I think that Greg Sankey is a great businessman and understands that, hey, like in order to grow the sport, we gotta have a certain type of structure that lends itself to us making money, more money, in a way that is widely accepted, and while also at the same time allowing the kids to make their money. So the only way you're gonna do that is to simplify things, to say, okay, hey, the top tier has this level of team, and then whatever they do under that, that's what has to take place. And I've always thought it's a good model. It lets these schools play like for like schools. It gets rid of Alabama or Georgia playing Appalachian State or some tiny ass school that's just on the calendar so they can make their chunk of change and get their ass beat on the football field. It gets rid of that, and it puts us in a position where we can say, okay, yeah, this national championship is absolutely one of the best ever won because you only played Power 5 or Power 4 in this case, opponents at this certain level. But I am a big believer, if you're going to do this, you have to have a way for the mid-level, not the low end, but the mid-level to get up to that next level if they choose to invest in their football team. If they choose to say, hey, we know that if we put more money into our program, if we do a better job recruiting, if we make our program attractive to the top talent, then if we go out and win, we should be able to get up to this next level. I'm not suggesting that has to be a relegation setup. All I'm suggesting is that you have to incentivize the lower tier to do the job better, essentially. And if you do that, and if you put together a God tier, as we call it on the show, you're going to be in a really strong position in college football. We won't have to talk anymore about SMU trying to join the ACC. We won't have to talk about all this conference meltdown nonsense because it will be taken care of because you figured out how to streamline college football. And if you streamline college football, the health of collegiate athletics goes through the roof. So I just don't think it's that hard of a concept. And I would also add, they have no incentive to blow up the NCAA, which is a point that I think we all like to get confused on and stuck on. Oh man, they're just trying to take over and they're trying to run this thing. It's like, no, dude, but somebody's got to carry the torch into what the next day in college football is going to be. And Greg Sankey's the guy to do it. And I do think that at some point, a guy like Brett Yormark comes into the picture. Once they've kind of got structure, then they're going to have to figure out how to integrate the Big 12 because they're going to need the Big 12 to be in that Super League God tier situation because they're going to need the numbers. You can't just have 20 teams.
Well, and I think one of the things that's so interesting is when you have these two divisions and the same umbrella, you do get a lot of benefit from that. And I think that's what Greg Sankey has ultimately always talked about is we want the biggest TV audiences so we can get the biggest TV money, which would require the best talent in college football. And we want more access so that our members are always competing at the highest level. And so you look at things like, I don't know, how do we get Georgia and Ohio State? Well, we get that every other year because the AFC and the NFC play each other.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why that structure makes so much sense. I also think anytime that college football can align itself with the NFL, it's good for college football. I also think anytime that you can put the best talent on the biggest stage, that's good for college football. Now, I think the other thing that's critically important here, and I want to make sure we don't go too far without talking about this, most of the folks at the top of the college football world hate the college football playoff structure. I think one of the real rubs here is, and it's a punchline now in college athletics, Ward Manuel being the chairman of the college football playoff selection committee is kind of a punchline. Ward is while well-liked, not well-respected, I'm told. And I think one of the things that frustrates a lot of people is the lack of respect that the process endured last year. And I think the Florida State, whatever debacle, whatever it is you want to call, that was for a lot of people, the last straw in the structure of the college football playoff. Florida State was left out of the college football playoff by the process they approved. And I think that's a really important point. And I know in this country, we don't follow rules and we don't want them applied to us. We want them applied to everybody else but us.
Uh-huh.
But that's what irked so many people in college football, is that it almost doesn't matter what the rules are. It only matters who's making the money, who's getting the access, and who is truly forced to follow those rules. And it was a clear demonstration in the separation of classes. Did Georgia lose their minds over not getting into the college football playoff? No. Were they unhappy about it? Yes. Did they voice that? Yes. Did they go nuclear like Florida State did? No. The issue is Florida State doesn't have the respect and the power that Kirby Smart and Georgia football carries.
Facts.
They just don't. And I think one of the things that we hear is that Florida State's not trying to sue the ACC because of the college football playoff. That's absolutely true. But that college football playoff moment was the tipping point. That's exactly what that was.
Yeah.
And again, I would note to you, has the Florida Attorney General rained down hell on top of the ACC? What happened to that? Oh, nothing, because there's nothing they can do.
Yeah, nothing to be done.
There's nothing they can do. But I point this out not to denigrate Florida State, which I always enjoy doing, but not to denigrate Florida State, but to tell you there is considerable frustrations at the highest levels of power in college athletics with the college football playoff. Whether that is the Pac-2, whether that is the G5, whether that is Florida State, whether that is all of these people who are in this season of discontent with access to the top of college football playoff. That overwhelmingly is why we are moving so quickly at light speed, and why in 2026, I believe we're going to have a significantly different path to winning a championship in college football.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the exact timeline they want too. I think that
I would agree with that.
That the Greg Sankeys of the world aren't trying to wait till 2030 to do this. I think the sport needs it needs the software update, if you will. It needs this fresh new system to come in and say, hey, we're gonna set it up so that we always get Michigan, Ohio State, so that we always get Georgia, Alabama, and I think that the NFL model works great for a reason, man. It's a very straightforward process, and I think all the bitching that Florida State did about how winning doesn't matter on the field, that's going to go away in this process. And when Florida State or teams like Florida State don't win and can't win, they're not going to be able to complain anymore. Because you had your opportunity, you got what you wanted, and you still lost. And that's what I think people are not yet cognizant of is the fact that the big boys are still going to eat. They're just now going to shut up all the complainers that said, hey, we didn't get our shot. We didn't get our chance. Okay, well, now you're going to get your chance.
And what this also does, I would point out, is it gives you an opportunity to alleviate the December conundrum.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think you are going to see that the college football championship will be decided in late January, early February. I don't know, like the Super Bowl. And there have been some people who have floated the idea of having the college football championship on Saturday and the Super Bowl on Sunday.
Why wouldn't you?
There's a lot of people talking about that. And I don't think it's a terrible idea. It would change the structure of spring football in this country. At least in the God tier, it would. But I think we're a long way away from anything that's detailed. We're a long way away from anything that's got finality to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I assure you that the Power Four are not going anywhere. And there's a lot of people who will tell you, well, the Big 12 is in real trouble. The Big 12's not in trouble because it's not going to matter, because the Big 10 and the SEC and And this is a football discussion. That's the other thing that I think is really important. It's been pointed out to me to everybody that I've spoken to about this. This is a football thing. This is not a lacrosse, baseball, stick and ball thing.
Yeah.
This is not a basketball thing. This is a football thing. This is not a college sports thing. This is a football thing.
But I think the impact of making money through this process can help those other sports, right? And I think that's the other part of this conversation I think is really important. Especially for those Big 12 schools or those ACC schools who maybe are not college football playoff juggernauts, but are teams that could absolutely, affect. They could be season wreckers, if you will.
Yeah.
They could beat a college football playoff team on any given Saturday, I guess. And I think that's what's important to understand too. And that's why this system works, because it doesn't just help the big boys. It helps,
Correct.
The K-States of the world or the Okie Lights of the world or whatever the case may be.
But Jake, I think it truly is the solution to a lot of problems. Well,
Yeah.
Hey, Monty, how do we protect the bowl system? You have a God tier.
Yeah.
And in the God tier, if you don't make the playoffs, you're going to go play in a bowl game. And if you make the playoffs, you're going to play in the college football playoffs.
And that's why I think the number of teams is so crucial. That's why I'm saying this isn't hard to understand. Like, okay, if we've got our AFC and NFC set up, not only can we match make properly and put teams in the proper conference, if you will, from that standpoint, so we can match make and make sure that the college football playoff championship game it has the opportunities to produce a great matchup. That's number one. I think that's paramount. But then below that, I think that the bowl system is going to eat off of this, because if you have enough teams, and they will have enough teams, which is why I keep saying the Big 12 and the ACC are not in trouble from that standpoint. But assuming you have enough teams, you're going to say, okay, this number of teams is what we need to appease every single bowl relationship that we have at this level. And if you do that, you're good. You checked off the bowl system. You've checked off the college football playoff system. And you've checked off your biggest brands making more money.
Totally
and you've
agree.
checked off giving them a bye week, which has also been talked about the last couple of weeks. So I just think it makes sense, and it's what the sport needs desperately.
Yep, totally agree. Let's talk about who's in and who's out after we tell you that Prize Picks is a daily fantasy partner of the Monty Show. Won $256 last night on Prize Picks. Thank you, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant was a goblin last night, or a demon, last night, and he absolutely came through in a big way in that Phoenix win that we'll talk about in about an hour from now. $256 in one night is not bad on daily fantasy. It's the most I've ever won. That's what I love about Prize Picks. Yes, I have been ice cold through and through, rectally speaking included. But last night was a get-back night for me on Prize Picks. It's very simple. Use the promo code Monty. Download the Prize Picks app. That promo code Monty will get you 100% deposit matching. You put in $10, they'll give you 10 more. You put in $50, they'll give you 50 more. Up to $100. So you can put in 100, they'll give you 100 more. You can play with $200 for a year, dude. Like, Prize Picks is amazing. All you have to do is Kevin Durant. Is he going to score? And last night, it was 33.5 points. 33.5 points, more or less. I took more and I won, because they have demons, these little red demons that pay 2.25 times more. They have these little green ones where it's easier, that pay 50% less. It's such a good system. Will he score more? Will he score less? Will Connor McDavid score a goal tonight? Yes or no? Like half a goal, more or less. It's such an easy system. And with baseball here, I think baseball and the NBA are the two best daily fantasy sports in the business. So hook it up, download the app, use the promo code Monty, M-O-N-T-Y, to get 100% deposit matching. What would a college football super league look like? Much to his credit, as we talked about earlier, I think Andy Staples has done a really good job formulating some of this. Now, take it with a grain of salt. It is On 3, and I'm telling you, On 3 has been trash in breaking news in college football. I think we've all agreed on that for a long time. But here's what Andy Staples' model looks like, right? And let me get the ticker off for you so you can see it as well. So the SEC side of things and the Big Ten side of things, keep in mind, put this in the picture of an NFL structure. AFC, NFC.
Right.
Let's call the SEC the AFC. Let's call the Big Ten the NFC. Right? You're gonna get, you're gonna get 16 to 20 teams qualifying for the NFL playoffs. Right? You're gonna get about the same number. If you look at these setups, right? You have 24 teams on both sides of this line. Now, obviously, you're going to notice, well, how did Virginia and Pitt and North Carolina? And well, because you're going to take from the Big 12 and the ACC, and you're going to make these two conferences, right?
Yeah.
But you also look at some flaws in this model. I don't believe that there's any way that Vanderbilt can compete in this model. There is no way, because if you look at Vandy, and I thought Vandy when I saw this yesterday, I think Vandy's the one that really, really stands out, because if you look at the Big Ten here, what's the weakest football brand in the Big Ten in this model? And if you say Florida State, I'll pat you on the back and have a laugh with you.
Rutgers.
It's probably Rutgers. Is Rutgers better than Vanderbilt? Absolutely. That's the biggest issue that I have, is that if you look at Vandy in the SEC and if you look at Rutgers in the Big Ten, I mean, Indiana's been terrible, but Indiana's at least competitive. I don't know what you do with a school like Vandy, because that's an auto out.
Yeah, and the other thing I noticed when I look at this is, like, you notice how, like, Utah as an example is under the Big Ten wing.
Yep.
And
makes perfect sense.
Oklahoma is under the SEC wing. I'd like to see, and again, this is how Andy put this particular list together. But the way I would have this put together is, and whatever they're going to call it, we're calling it the AFC and the NFC for sake of conversation today. But I think that you got to split up, the Michigans and Ohio States. You got to split up the Alabamas and the Georgias. You got to split up the Texas and Oklahomas, right? You want to split those two up, so then that way you have that opportunity to have those two teams in a huge rivalry game for the college football championship. Because what you don't want is Alabama and Georgia continuing to run into each other and preventing one of those brands from going after a national championship. You don't want, Michigan and Ohio State again ruining each other's seasons. That I don't think you want that. I think you'd much rather see, we'd much rather have the storyline of, hey, check this out, right? Like Ohio State's playing, let's call it Texas, to get to the national championship game. And by the way, on the other side, Michigan's playing Florida State to get to the national championship. My God, Ohio State, Michigan for a natty? Like, that's the kind of situation I think that Greg Sankey and the boys need to create here, so that we can get the best matchups in the national championship game.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt that cross-pollination is going to happen. I think this is good in a lot of different ways, because I think, again, as I've been told, they really want to move closer to the NFL because it gives them leverage over talent. And I think one of the things that you can do in this model absolutely is you can have Monday Night Football. You can have big made-for-TV games. And I think the bigger question is, who's on the outside looking in these conferences? And I think again, I go to the ACC and I ask myself, well, what is Wake Forest as a football program? Like, I understand Pitt, to a lesser extent Virginia, but if we're looking at Syracuse, if we're looking at some of these lesser brands here, the question I ask is, where does a Syracuse fit into this?
Yeah, and that's going to be the difficult part of this conversation, is how do you define what's the benchmark or the bar you have to meet to get into this picture? And I don't know how you go about doing it outside of a stat. I mean, that's the logical way to go. Like, hey, winning percentage or most wins, or like you have to have, you have to have been ranked inside the top 25 at least 5 times in the last 5 years, let's say, or whatever it is, right? But the point is that schools like Syracuse on the football field have no business being in this conversation. You know, Vanderbilt has no business being in this conversation. But this brings me back to the point I was making before. They have every right to be in a secondary division, and they have every right to have an incentive to get up into the top division, provided they do X, Y, and Z.
I think that's going to be really tough. I think it's going to be very, very tough, because I think the more universities you gave access to, whether it's relegation or not, or whatever it might be, I just think you're asking for trouble. That's just my opinion. I don't know how you fix that, but
if you were selling it to these schools, wouldn't you say, hey, like, you don't have access now. You don't have. Vanderbilt doesn't play in a championship game of any variety. Vanderbilt, it would be
Baseball.
lucky to go to a. But on the football field, you're not doing anything. Yeah, you're a baseball school. That's right. You're a baseball school. Go ahead and go to the College World Series.
And they have some women's basketball history.
But my point is if you sold to these, I'll call them mid-level schools, right? Like, hey, you're not in the top cut, but you're also not in the low cut. You're somewhere in between. If you said to them, hey, I understand you want to be in the top cut, but we also understand that you can't compete with 9 out of 10 of these schools. So if we put you in a group with like talented schools, if you will, and you guys had your own championship, right? Like, I'm not going to call it the NIT model, but I am going to say, hey, you have the secondary tier college football playoff, I guess, or whatever you would call it. Then it allows schools like Vanderbilt to go out and make some extra money through a championship of the second division. That's what I think you have to create. So then everybody's making more money.
I think it's just going to be very difficult. I think it's a very difficult proposition and I don't mean to keep putting this graphic up here, but I think it's a very difficult proposition if you look at Calvert right now. You look at, and again, this is just surmising. But I think Andy did a pretty nice job in putting this together. I mean, you look at who's not here. There's very good reasons why a lot of these universities are not here. How do you reconcile Stanford and Cal into this?
You don't.
They should never have been in the ACC. Hey, but again, where's SMU? Oh, that's right. They're in Dallas County. Right? Like, how do you reconcile this? And I think it's very difficult to make this argument. It's very difficult to say, like I look at Northwestern. At least Northwestern has recent competitive seasons. And obviously their car wash penis thing was not good. Not good.
No.
But at least they have recent competitive seasons. And I think that's what you're seeing here. Maryland's a basketball school.
Yeah.
But if you're the Big Ten, are you cutting Maryland out? Probably not. Right? I look at, and again, I just continue to tell you, like, I look at North Carolina and Virginia on this side. Where's North Carolina State and Virginia Tech? They're on the other side. It has the ability to create some really good rivalry games.
Yes.
Right? But again, Utah's in. Where's BYU in this conversation? Is BYU in this conversation?
No.
But I also think one of the major flaws in this is I think it's going to be 64, not 48. I don't think 48's enough. And I know that we've thrown that around. I'll be honest with you and say that nobody seems to know what a number is. People are just guessing at 48 or 64. 48 teams is not enough. I just think you leave out too many big brands. So we'll see. I think that's a lot of conjecture. It's a lot of questions, but hey, let's get your thoughts in here. We always appreciate you guys being on the show. Let's see. Who should we give the pleasure of lighting the wick on the keg? How about Giggity, who's been a member for 14 months?
Oh, okay, Giggity. All right, bro.
Flex on him. Let's go. Hit the join button. First of all, we are over 1,000 views this morning, and we are only at 40 likes. You guys
have been slacking on this, bro. Like, come on.
Come on,
man.
Let's go. Hit the like button. We have 200 people watching the show right now. Let's make sure that you guys get on, hit the like button. Always appreciate you guys watching the show. Thank you, Giggity, for being here for 14 months. Boyd Lake, what's up with you? The eye patch, good morning. The reality is whatever ESPN wants, it will get partially. Partially, I don't think there's any doubt. ESPN has the ability to matchmake because they have contracts in place that they're not just going to drop in a shredder for you.
Yeah.
ESPN has the leverage. I think it is really interesting the way that all of this could come together. And I think it's pretty clear that there is a great unknown about all of this. But, Eric Wasikowski, good morning to you. LOL, didn't I say they were going to merge? I don't know. Did you say that? Perhaps you did. I don't know. Christopher Shannon, good morning. But that's not taking over the sport. Okay, what am I missing?
Okay, you're missing, guys.
Christopher Shannon, ESPN has been the hand guiding this the whole time. That is not.
Okay, you're missing the point. The graphic says Big Ten and SEC. That doesn't mean it's going to be the Big Ten and the SEC.
No.
This was a idea that was put out by Andy, and it provides a good conversation.
Frankly, it's the best graphic that we could find.
Yeah,
I happen to like Andy's
let's
work
not start taking victory laps and saying, "Oh, the Big Ten and the SEC are merging." That's not.
They're not merging.
The entire college football playoff system is going to merge, dude.
The funny thing to me is that people are like, "Oh yeah, the Big Ten and the SEC are gonna." They're not gonna.
That's not what this is.
I think people get all excited, and I understand. We're all fans, and I've never, not one time, heard anybody say that the SEC and the Big Ten are merging. I know quite a few people in this game. Not one time have I heard people say they're looking to blow up the NCAA. They're going to abandon the NCAA. That's not at all what they're doing. That's not what they're doing. What they're doing is they are forming a new way of determining a college football champion. And they're not like the other thing that we hear all the time. Well, the Big 12 and the ACC are getting left behind. Really? How many times do I have to tell you guys they're not getting left behind? How many times do I have to say, oh, well, Monty, they're going to merge the ACC and the Big 12? They're not merging. They're not merging. What good would that do the ACC and the Big 12? If they're trying to remain, do you really believe that you're going to keep the biggest brands in the Big 12, the Utahs, the Texas Techs, the Oklahoma States, the TCUs? Do you really think you're going to keep them out? Are you now going to make the argument that Kansas doesn't belong in a college football power tier?
They do.
Are you really going to make the argument that what K-State's built in football doesn't belong at the top tier in college football? You're really making that argument. And the argument, yesterday on our channel, in the comment section, Texas Tech doesn't belong. There's not football in Texas without Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. And anybody telling you, oh, the Big 12 and the ACC are going to merge, you have no clue what you're talking about. Anybody saying, oh, the Big 10 and the SEC are going to, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Them merging it hurts them. It doesn't help them. How does the ACC and the Big 12 merging, what does that give them leverage? No, it does not. That weighs down the Big 12. I would remind you that the Big 12 is the best basketball conference in the country. I think this year they're going to be the second best conference in college football. And you're talking about long time foundational brands in college football. And I understand millennials and Gen Zers, nothing happened before you bounced off your mom's legs. I totally understand that. But do you not remember the history and the tradition of the Big 12, the Big 8? Do you not remember that some of the most important moments and some of the most important foundational pieces in college football came out of the old Southwest Conference, the old Big 8?
Mm-hmm.
And I would point out to you, Greg Sankey's not 35 years old. Like, that's the guy who really is controlling the rudder of where this is going. So this, you can throw stuff out, but it doesn't make it fact.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it fact. And the only thing that I can say is there is the biggest concerns that guys like Greg Sankey, Tony Petitti, all of these commissioners have. and I think Phillips, and I absolutely think Brett Yormark's in this conversation as well. Charlie Baker certainly is in this conversation, the president of the NCAA. They're worried about keeping the Bulls relevant. They're worried about keeping rivalries relevant. Can you imagine where we don't have the largest cocktail party in the world? Can you imagine where we're in a place where Mike Gundy is telling you that Bedlam is irrelevant and then goes up on the podium and sobs like a little bitch after beating Oklahoma. Oh my God, the game's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. Oh God, we won. Oh, this is so meaning. That's who we are in college football. That's who we are. And my point is, do you want to be Oklahoma or do you want to be Oklahoma State? Because I think it's a great contrast. Everybody wants to be Oklahoma.
Yep.
You want to play in the biggest games. You want to play it for the biggest money. You want to recruit the biggest stars. You're not going to limit it to 48 teams. You're not going to limit it to 48 teams.
No, you need opportunity. 100%.
And you're not going to merge the Big 12 and the ACC. What sense does that make? Oh, well, Monty, they both are on ESPN contracts. So is the SEC. What sense does that make? And again, if we're merging the Big 10 and the SEC, and I'm just asking for a friend, bro.
Right.
Who's paying for that? And Fox or ESPN, who's dropping their contract in the shredder? It makes no sense. Why would you want to consolidate and shrink the TV money? You don't. That's how you lose money. And these guys, no matter what you think of them that run college football, they don't shrink and they don't lose money.
Yeah.
They always figure out how to make more money. And I'm asking you at some point, and I could be wrong, and maybe I'm just the a-hole in the room. I'm asking you at some point to turn on the common sense in your frontal cortex.
For such a smart person, you really are lost, aren't you?
You say some dumb. College football fans are, yes, Eric and Raleigh, I'm a man. I'm 50.
That's right. That's right. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm a man.
Come on, man. At 48 doesn't make sense. OG Gary, 48 seems to be the right number for now as a start. I don't think it is. I don't know how you start
I think you
at
need
48.
more. You need more.
How do you start at 48? I have no idea how you start at 48 because, again, I put up the Staples graphic. And the question I'm just going to ask again. If 48 seems to be a place that we start. And I'm not saying that you're wrong or that I'm right. If this is where we start. Can anybody want to point out to me? And I'm blind, I'm old. Where's TCU? Where you're telling me we're going to have a league without TCU?
Apparently.
This is a guess, and it's a really well thought out guess. But if you look at the brands who are not here, that's that everybody gets so fixated on stuff like this. Well, Monty, that's the final word. Andy Staples said it.
You pointed out. That's it, man.
Stay hard.
Do you really think we're going to play college football and have a championship of college football? And in what world do you live in if you believe that Texas A&M is in and TCU is out? And in football, TCU is out and Kentucky is in. In football.
Yeah, that's stupid.
How?
That's what I'm talking about.
By the way, are any of the Iowa schools on here?
Well, Iowa is here.
Oh, there's Iowa right there. Okay.
But the question again, I think it's a really interesting point. Like, are we just going to throw out rivalries for 48 teams?
What about the Arizona schools?
Are we just throwing out rivalries? Is there a world where we live in that Deion's not getting into the college football playoff? Look at the teams who aren't here.
So that's what I'm saying. This isn't the Big Ten and the SEC merging. Stop taking your hot take victory lap. That's not what this is.
Not what this is. Like, I don't know. Like, I do think some people drink too much on this show.
I would agree.
All right, let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. No Baylor either. Baylor has a new football.
Do you understand the talent it takes to do what Buddy just did right there? Do you understand? Like,
hi, this is James. Welcome back. Yay,
bro, dude.
James, for you guys who don't
I'm
know,
giving you a fucking answer.
he was. He has a YouTube channel where he does stadium reviews.
Hi, this is James. Welcome back.
Oak State James's only perspective is how nice is your stadium? How quality is the corn dog?
That was a masterpiece of dog shit.
That's his entire framework. That's his entire existence. Baylor has new football and basketball arena. They have invested in their facilities, and it's Baylor.
But remember, his wife is a Baylor fan.
48 teams, yeah.
Hey, Monty.
Seems like where we're going makes no sense. No sense at all. None whatsoever. Mike Smith, no Kansas, no TCU, no Duke, and no BYU on that graphic.
It's wild.
You know. And on Andy's show, he said BYU would be in, which is, again, I know that pisses off the fucking Mormons, always with their secret underpants.
Oh, what did they soak their way in?
Work with me. Work with me. It just is what it is. Eric Wasikowski, I'm talking more about schedule alliances, which is basically no, it's not. No, it's not.
Yeah, how'd that Pac-12 ACC scheduling alliance work out?
God help me. Let me and listen. I'm not on your level, Eric. I'm way down here.
Right.
Michigan, way up here. You really think that a scheduling alliance is basically merging?
Anytime the word basically is used.
You think?
Wow, Monty.
So BYU had a scheduling alliance with the Pac-12. Did they merge?
Well, basically.
Why haven't the Pac-2 and the Mountain West merged? They have a scheduling alliance. I mean,
basically,
they're in business. What are you talking about, man? You didn't. I don't know what you said about merging, and I'm not going back to find it.
So-called experts.
A scheduling alliance is not merging. Holy cow. Okay. Kim and Eldon, the newest members. Keldon. Eldon? No, it's millennials. It is Keldon. Kim and Eldon.
Yeah, see what I did there? It all kind of works together. It's Keldon. Yeah.
You know, it's not. The scheduling alliance is not nearly merging.
So Kim and Eldon basically merged.
Yeah, but they had a scheduling alliance.
Right. Yeah.
They were going to eat dinner at the same time. They were going to go to bed at the same time. You know.
Right.
The cock.
Yeah.
What are you talking about, man? What are you talking about? Keldon joins the entry-level membership. We have 2 levels of membership on the show for $1.99 a month. All of your comments get highlighted and read on the show. For $9.99 a month, you get into our upper tier, our members-only group on Instagram, where we talk about this stuff all the time. Hook it up. Hit the join button after you hit the like button. Joshua Talo. Joshua, good morning. 64 is a good number. We structured 4 conferences of 16 by going north, east, south, and west. Call them what you want. Negotiate TV as a whole with each of the 4 major networks getting 1 conference to broadcast. NFL model.
It's rocket science,
I think 64 is the number you have to have. You just eliminate too many. We're not playing college football at the highest level without TCU.
Yeah.
That makes 0 sense. So, Joshua, I think you're exactly right. I think that's a fine model. And we won't know.
Appreciate the tip.
Brandon Butler, fun discussing it, but never going to happen. BYU brings ratings and is beloved by ESPN. If a Super League were to happen, it would be about brands. Yes. BYU, it's over 1 million people now on average watching their games.
Yeah.
What they did in Independence, the games they won. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yep.
100% I agree. Elaine Tran, we are happy in the Big 12. Yeah, the Big 12 and the ACC are not merging. That's wild to me. Big blue horses. Good morning. It's too early for this shit. I need a bucked up. Seriously. Seriously. Get bucked up. Use the promo code Monty. Save 20% off at checkout. I love James, Oak State sports fan and stadium guru. His ability to trigger Monty by being nice is golden. He kills them with kindness, and I love it. Yeah, you and James and Jake, for those of you who don't know, are dating. Now, it's kind of a catfish type relationship between Oak State James and Jake. They only text. They've never met in person, and
it's a little different.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
Rutgers is in it because of the TV market. Rutgers is more valuable than Vanderbilt. I would agree with that. 64 teams, 4 divisions of 16. You can get creative with scheduling. Totally agree, Gary.
See, Gary, coming around now, bud. Nice job.
Well, he opened the garage door. He had started the car, but he never opened the garage door. And then he opened the garage door. So common sense. LSU. Is LSU in? Okay.
That's right.
James, I kid you not.
Oh, boy.
Foster Pavilion is a great basketball arena. I love the big screens at the top of the arena instead of above the court. I mean,
man,
who
dude.
doesn't? Who doesn't? Who doesn't? Elaine Tran, Houston area is nicer too, James. That's what I'm saying. I mean, Houston.
Yeah, I mean, Houston's no Okie light, but it'll do.
Legit Spartan was Notre Dame on that list. Come on.
Yes.
Dude. Don't Spartan.
Yeah.
Don't start. Notre
They're
Dame.
right there, dude. Right side, third row down.
Come on, man.
Come on, bro.
You ain't playing football without my R and we the beloved.
Yeah, Manti Te'o's fake girlfriend's got to be in, dude. Come on.
Can we settle down, please?
Come on.
Notre Dame was on the list. Of course they were. Of course they were. Who are even kidding?
Dude.
Larry Chanel.
What the fuck are you?
It's good perfume. ESPN has no power over the Big Ten. I wouldn't say no power.
What is wrong with some people?
I agree. I wouldn't say no power. I think when you look at the college football playoff, I think when you look at bowl season, I think when you look at made-for-TV matchups, ESPN's reach is not who gets the regular season contract. And I think a lot of people forget about this. Their reach is not, hey, well, you're not getting, whatever the hell Fox calls a big noon kickoff. You're not getting Gus Johnson rooting openly for Michigan. Okay, cool. But we don't really want that. We want Ohio State and Georgia in the championship game of the college football playoff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say they have some reach. And it's not no power. Do they influence decision-making? They do. And you don't have to believe that. But if you are Tony Petitti, the commissioner of the Big Ten, and you're talking about forming a God tier, you don't think even one time about ESPN. Sure you do. You absolutely do. And Tony Petitti, who, again, I would remind you, big fella at Michigan, is the chairman of the College Football Playoff Committee. You don't think he thinks about ESPN and ABC? I'm going to say he does.
Yeah.
I'm going to say he does. TCU is poo-poo, 65-7. Okay. Let's see. El Toro Bravo, 713.
What, 712 wasn't available?
Says,
What the fuck are you?
LOL. Dakota Tubbs, good morning, Dakota. What about your guys at Missouri? They're on that graphic there.
What would I do without you?
I mean, Andy Staples said so.
Yeah.
64 teams. Sounds like the border war is back every year. 64 teams allowed for regionality to come back into college football, how it used to be before major realignment.
Yep.
I think it fixes the stupidity of Calford to the ACC. I think it fixes, well, Monty, Notre Dame's never joining a conference, bro. Well, they don't join a conference, but they are in the Super League.
Notre Dame, our mother.
Right? It fixes that kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
And Dakota, I think you're exactly right. I think you have to have the border war. I think you have to have the holy war. I think you have to have Bedlam. And that's the one I will never forgive Mike Gundy for absolutely being a stupid F when it comes to Bedlam. The only reason he didn't like Bedlam is because he could never win the game.
I think I've hit it every time.
And Oak State James is probably, losing his mind right now. But, 64 is much better than 32, UW fan Jim. I would agree with that. I would agree. How do you become a member? Just hit the join button.
Yeah, the little join button.
Desktop?
Yeah, and depending on your iOS, it's available.
Yeah, you have to update to
Yeah,
the
you
latest
gotta
iOS. So just
update,
hit
yeah.
join.
Yeah.
And it'll be there. I can't find the link. It's
Eric.
I can't see it because it's my channel. I can't see it in public.
It's not a link. It's a
button.
If you're watching on your phone, it's a button that's right below like the name of the episode. It would be a white button that says join.
Yep, totally agree. That's exactly how it'll go down. I'm so mad at you right now.
What?
It's got another Subaru lease deal in my email. Wait until that
Dude,
story comes
give us
up.
20 minutes. We're gonna have a throwdown about
Give
this.
us 20 minutes. We'll give you the world. Hour number 2 of the Monty Show is always presented by our friends at The Advocates, theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business. They're working with the Red Cross to do a blood drive this month. Blood shortages are at critical levels. I think we know that in this country. Please go to your local Red Cross outlet. Find a Red Cross office. Get online at redcross.org and use the sponsor code ADVOCATESSLC. Advocates SLC to donate blood. The Advocates are working with the Red Cross this month. And this is what I tell you about the Advocates every month. They care about their communities. They care about the communities they work in and serve in. It's what makes them such an elite firm because they use empathy. They care about people. They understand what people are going through. They understand that when you've been in an accident with a big rig, that you're terrified. Heaven forbid that you get hurt at work and you're wondering, hey, they say they're going to pay me, but my direct deposit didn't hit. And do I really have a job? Like all that uncertainty, give that all to the Advocate so you can get back to the best version of yourself. Chat with an attorney live online for free. It won't cost you a dime. Theadvocates.com, where you never pay a consultation fee. You never pay a retainer. In fact, you never pay out of pocket. You don't pay the Advocates unless and until they win your case at theadvocates.com. Talking about this Super League. Is a college football Super League coming to reality? I don't care what you call it. And if you want to use Super League as the term that you're comfortable with, great. A God tier is coming to college football. And I think we've talked about this on the show for, I was looking last night on our channel, at least 90 days. At least back into, I think the first time we talked about it was in early December.
Right.
A God tier is coming. And I think we are all well aware that the SEC and the Big Ten will be the foundation of the God tier. But this idea, and I think this is what we battle against every day on this show, because you have all these people on Twitter, X, that are, we're experts, and the Big Ten and the SEC are going to bail on the NCAA and play in their own league.
So-called experts.
Has never been talked about, not once. It has never been discussed that the Big Ten and the SEC are just going to leave everybody else and play their own games. It's never been discussed. Now, Greg Sankey, I think, and we played the bite on this show all those months ago now, did say, well, we'll just play our own championship. He did say that.
Yeah.
And everybody took that to mean, oh, Monty, they're pulling out, bro, like your mom did. Well,
Yay!
I'm telling you, it's not what he meant. What he meant was, we will leave this traditional restrictive system behind, and we will forge our own path ahead.
Yes.
Made an alliance with the Big Ten. But what has Greg Sankey said repeatedly and pointedly? We are not looking to end or leave or damage the NCAA. Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC, has said repeatedly, we need national regulation. We need a national governing body so that college football remains a true national American sport. That is exactly right. That does not mean he can't form a God tier with the other commissioners. That does not mean the NCAA is going away. That does not mean the ACC and the Big 12 are going to merge. What that means is, in my opinion, you're going to have 64 teams that are going to play in a God tier. They're going to spend more money. They're going to pay more NIL. They're going to have less restrictive, constricting recruiting rules. So they're going to get better talent. They're going to have bigger TV contracts. And the G5 is going to expand. That tier. Because I do think the Power 5 and the G5 and the Ivy League I think that goes away.
Yep.
I think you're going to have a God tier. Call it what you want. I think you're going to have a secondary tier. Call it what you want. And I truly think the Division II, the FCS, I think all of that, those lower tiers in college football will remain the same.
Yeah, and I think that's how it needs to be. I think, again, you have to level the playing field. You have to have some parity, if you will. You got to have the same caliber of schools playing the same caliber of schools.
But I also think you have to tell the truth.
Yeah.
And the truth is that let's call it 64 teams. If 64 teams is the number, those 64 teams make more money than you.
Yeah.
Those 64 teams on par bring more TV audience than you do.
But that's the reality of life. I mean, we see that in a lot of different areas in life.
But then how does SMU buy their way into a Power 5 conference?
Because the ACC made a bad decision on that front and was silly with it. And I think the ACC, really was like, yeah, we just need to expand because we feel like expanding is going to protect our conference, when in the reality is that hurt their conference.
100%.
And I think, again, if you're the ACC, this is exactly what the doctor ordered. You want this tier. You want
100%
a new setup because it takes the onus off of conference scheduling and puts it on, hey, are you in the Super League or not? And if you're in the Super League, you make more money. That's what that does.
Totally agree. Eric in Raleigh found the join button.
Hey, the big white join button.
I don't know why would you make this an issue of race?
It's not. The button is white. Like, it's not that difficult
How do you
to
know?
understand.
Did you check Ancestry.com?
No.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that.
Maybe it's European.
Okay, but that's not.
Just saying.
That's different.
That was some weak shit out of you.
Thanks, man.
I'm kidding. James. I haven't looked at this comment, but it's James. Hilarity is going to ensue.
You know it.
He paid us $5 to say my criteria. What did I tell you?
The James criteria.
This is, who are you, Andy Staples?
Yeah.
My criteria is parking, concessions, lots of barbecue, seating, more chairbacks, the better, and how it looks on the outside. Man, that Stackstone looks terrible.
James, real quick, can you
guys didn't stucco that building,
buddy? Can you do a breakdown of the A's new stadium for us so that when we talk about it in 10 minutes, we can get your full breakdown?
Somebody's got to get to T. Boone Pickens' relatives, his heirs, and tell them to stop. We cannot continue to stucco these stadiums, boy.
It doesn't work in Tarrant County.
Oh, James, I love you, dude. Yeah, I mean,
so now I'm not the only one.
No, I genuinely, I have love in my fandom for James. I'm not the one who that's you and James.
Stay hard.
I'm not, I don't make the rules. I just break them. Joshua for $5 for bowl games. You take New Year's 6+1 to the new tier. They become conference championships, semifinals, and national championships. Everything else stays. They're going to preserve bowls.
Yes.
They're going to preserve bowls.
Got to make that bread.
I think one of the ways you do that is you push the bowl season into December fully. And I think you have, I don't know, wild cards in the NFL. You have playing games. Hey, man, look, Georgia didn't get into look this year. Georgia and Florida State are on the outside looking in. They play each other. The winner goes on.
Boom.
I think that's what the Tostitos, nacho cheese in a can Fiesta Bowl.
Don't tell me you're not going to get your chance to decide on the field. I'm tired of that excuse.
We all know Tostitos is going to continue to sell queso that's going to give you a heart attack.
I want the best people.
And you're going to eat it while we play huge football games, right? Like, I think we all know that the month of December will become consequential on the football field. Right now, the month of December is not consequential. And I think you look at, and Joshua, maybe to your point, is the Rose Bowl ever going to agree to play the granddaddy of them all on any other day that's not 3 p.m. Pacific time, New Year's Day?
No.
Probably not. So are you going to have a way? Sure. Maybe that is the first of the matchups, or, I just think it is one of those things where you have to find a way to make December something other than, the early signing period.
Money.
Then you got the portal. Coaches have to be able to prepare for football games in December.
Yes.
And right now they're just so taxed with, again, the portal, early signing period, like all this stuff. And then you heap on a big game.
Yes.
You got to fix that. And I think they will. Joshua, thanks for participating. Eric in Raleigh, it is Eric. So Eric R is different than Eric in Eric R.
It's the Eric.
It's Eric in Raleigh with the K.
It's the Eric show.
That's probably not.
We don't approve gang signs on this show.
It's
so.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Gang sign that. Eric and Raleigh, appreciate you. Welcome to the membership. Have you guys hit the like button yet? Please hit that. We have 66 likes.
Okay, let's do it again.
Okay,
let's do it again.
Okay, so here's what we'll do. Okay, so we have in total 257 people watching the show. Let's pull out the old stopwatch, Monty. 60 seconds from now.
Yeah, 60 seconds on the clock.
From right now. If we get to 100 likes, and we just need 33 likes, we'll give away a $50 Amazon gift card.
Let's go do it.
It's that simple.
We're pausing the show. Come on.
That's how old Uncle Monty rolls.
Hey, Monty.
Right there it is right there, you guys. You got 40. I can't even hold the phone straight. You got 40 seconds to get us to 100 likes. That's all you have to do. We're just now.
Get it.
28, 27.
Let's go.
Come on, let's go.
Let's go.
Hit the like button, you hyenas. It's not moving. You got to 25.
Dude, come on.
You failed me for the final time. Come on, you got 25 likes to go. You failed me for the final time.
If we said you had to get to 100 likes in the next minute for the show to continue in totality, would you get to 100 likes?
No.
Because I'm guessing you lazy hyenas wouldn't.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Okay, I tried. There's 60
We tried
seconds.
to give you something nice, and this is what we get.
Yeah. I just, it is what it is. It's fine. I don't have feelings, you guys. Don't worry about it. All right, couple more. Oak State James, I don't mind Monty talking smack about Gundy. Well, good, thank God. He tried to play it cool. Man. No, he didn't try to play it cool. No, he didn't. He tried to play it cool about Bedlam when the fans were mad that it was the last one. P.S. Super Chat. I read your Super Chat.
And he didn't try to play it cool.
No. He gets his ass kicked every time Oklahoma shows up with, an actual head coach. And then he's like, well, this rivalry is meaningless. Fans don't care. I don't care. Your mom doesn't care. You and your mom don't care. Bedlam sucks. And then he wins it for once. Oh, God. Oh, T-Boone, I love you, brother.
How can we end this rivalry?
Oak State James, let's go to Buc-ee's and celebrate with some barbecue sandwiches, bro. Stop. Well, he was trying to, he was playing it cool. No, he wasn't. No, he was not. He was not. UW fan Jim. Oh, God. On Jake's idea of... Okay, I'll stop. On Jake's idea of a second level playoff, but would there be enough interest to get all the games on TV? That'd be tough. And you know what the real truth is? You would probably be playing those games during the week. Because if you have the God tier, it's
Division I football
playing on Saturdays in December.
Yeah.
And then you have the real playoffs, lining up on a Saturday and the NFL playoffs on a Sunday. Who's watching? All right, here we go. Boise State and Tarleton going head to head for the Jimmy's Corn Dog Championship of Nobody Gives a Shit. Right here on Fuel TV, everybody.
You remember the Pop-Tart Bowl? We were more concerned with the Pop-Tart itself than the actual game.
Here we are in the Uncrustables Championship. game here at Austin City High School in Austin, Texas.
Oh, Monty, their hot dogs are great, man.
Oak State James reporting live from the concourse. Well, the barbecue is a little dry here. They get all this and barbecue. So, all right, James, thanks so much. Where are you? That's the only thing I'm concerned about. You're going to put the G5 championship game on CBS Sports
Via social media.
What about Army Navy? What about, because Army Navy traditionally has had their own Saturday afternoon. I think that's the kind of stuff I worry about. Jimmy, Mormons, they're Latter-day Saints, believe in the God tier.
God bless.
Well played, Jimmy.
I cannot make a Joseph
well
Smith.
Played, Jimmy.
All right, here we are.
Well, Monty, BYU didn't get in, and that means that we're going to have to pray to the White Salamander tonight. Yeah?
Here we are at LaVell Edwards Stadium in Provo, Utah, where it's -6 degrees.
Monty, I got a live report from the frozen churro stand.
We will contest the Joseph Smith Championship of Nobody Gives a Damn College Football today. Look at this beautiful statue of a white salamander that the champion will take home, or probably not. Dumpster on the way out. But the point is, Oak State James live on the concourse here at LaVell Edwards with that cougar tail. James, take it away. Hey, baby. This is that cougar tail, Brinley, that I was telling you. UW fan Jim, I know I would watch, but I'm a football nut. Truth. Okay. I've done irreputable damage to my family name. Sorry, I think Fox vigorously disagrees with that.
Keyword vigorously.
Right here on Fox Sports 7. We're going to... All right, here we go on True TV. Right? All right, Hallmark Channel is the scene for...
Yay!
Nobody's watching. Like number 86. Come on, all 27 more minutes to get to 100.
Yeah, and then Jimmy's going to be the guy that's like, all right, Monty, it's 7:57. We finally got to 100.
Look at Dakota Tubbs. Pop-Tart Bowl celebration will forever be the GOAT of all bowl
That's what
post
I'm talking
games.
about. Them just sitting there eating it like it's a sacrificial lamb.
Admittedly, I had a Pop-Tart after that. I did. Eric and Raleigh, I don't understand all this technology and stuff. I know. Oak State James. I've actually been at Tarleton State Stadium.
Damn it. Jesus Christ.
I know you have. I know. Mike Smith, LOL, True TV, where all shows are scripted. True TV right here.
Hey, Monty.
The NFL playoffs were scripted at Tarleton State. I don't know what you do. With the G5. Honestly, if we're being serious, I don't know what you do with the G5.
You got to give them something enticing. You have to come up with something.
Yeah. I mean, Kirk Schultz at Washington State's going to blow a gasket if...
Well, he's getting paid $600 million a year, so, they at least have money.
Yeah.
And
again, I say this, and I'm not even 100% serious. 100%. The real loser in this college football Super League, again, is Oregon State. That Beaver's taking a beating. And you feel bad about it? Grow up. You feel bad about it because you feel like Oregon State had it all until it didn't.
You don't always have to be negative.
Well, Reeser's beautiful.
yeah, James, can I get a Reeser take, please?
Yeah, James, we're going to need a review of Reeser Stadium. And if you could tell us about the garlic fries, too, that'd be great.
Via social media.
We're going to go ahead and need that on your YouTube channel. Dakota Tubbs, the branding worked on little Monty. Oh, James. Yes, there you go, OG Gary. James, you're so on brand.
Yeah,
absolutely. Let's see. Dakota Tubbs says, give the G5 a Pop-Tart and tell them to shut up. It sucks because you look at, much to Oak State James's point, you look at some of these schools, look at the money Boise spent on their facilities.
Yes.
I mean, it is lavish, the money they spent on their facilities. And it may all well be for naught, right? Mike Smith, Oregon State Beaver beatdown. Why do they hate the Beavers? Yeah, I don't know. Stop, Gary. Pulling out
Macaque.
on the NCAA and beating Beavers. It's what we do here on the Monty Show.
Stay hard.
That's right. See?
Oak State James. Tulsa needs to move their basketball. Now you've gone too far. They need to move their basketball arena and build up the visiting side.
Why are we talking about Tulsa, dude?
If they made it look like the home side, it would be pretty good. Nobody cares about Tulsa.
This is James reporting live from Tulsa.
This is James in Monty Copter 56, flying over the Tulsa basketball arena. I got to tell you guys down there, traffic looks fine around the arena, but did you see that visitor side over there? Holy shit, flying over here, I can see that Buc-ee's.
Because it's garbage.
Is that smoke coming out of Buc-ee's? Are they smoking a new brisket down there? All right, I got to go.
Dude.
Coming to you live from the White Salamander Chopper. I see plenty of cougar tail in Provo. No, I'm not going to hell. I'm already in hell.
Bro, pause.
My wife is buying a Subaru this
my
weekend.
God.
How much worse can it get?
Bro, Subarus are nice cars, okay?
You shut your dirty mouth. Eric Wasikowski, sounds like Monty needs some Prozac.
Monty.
Hey, Monty.
69.
Monty, I know you wanted Prozac, but try this Ozempic.
Me?
Dude, the Ozempic stuff coming out, though? Bro.
Did you guys see Ozempic? No. Nope. Focus. UW fan Jim. James has never been west of the Mississippi. Some guru. All right, Oak State James joins us live from the Buc-ee's Chopper. James, it looks like you're perilously close to the Mississippi River. James,
Yay!
are you there? No, this is the pilot. He jumped out after we crossed the river. Couldn't take it.
It's going good.
Damn.
I don't know. Kay Sumbry. Wow, I'm from Tulsa. Truly a national reach on the Monty program.
You jagoffs from Tulsa, you might want to improve your arena so we can get better reports over here.
Oh my God. Monty should pay James some royalties for writing comedy gold. Exactly right. Kay Sumbry's from Tulsa and went to Oak State.
Excuse me, it's Oak Light. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Okie State. My bad.
Yeah.
The truck stop conference. No, can't. Let's see. Subi for safety.
Right.
Kevin Subi, around the corner. No, can't do it. Brandon Butler, Ozempic, the Ozempic thing. Karma is real.
Dude, bro.
It is, but Ozempic is actually helping people with actual real
the people,
disease.
who need it, not the people who just want it because they're too lazy to go to the gym.
Yeah. Mike Smith, James is going to hook up with a bandit and go west to get some Coors beer. All right, Oak State, James here live in Golden, Colorado. James, that's on the other side of the Mississippi. No, it's not.
That's right.
That's right. Russell Wilson's buying. Right, $85 million dead cap number,
Bro.
on Russell Wilson.
Nah, I'm good. I'm going to go ahead and pass on that.
Caleb Aylmore. Good morning, Caleb. Oklahomies feeling attacked right now.
Homies.
There's trouble in every corner of Oak State. Thanks to James. It's your fault, James. Truck stop conference, don't use no helicopters. How did truck stop conference become an insult?
And also, I thought it was flyover conference.
Yeah, what happened to flyover conference?
I thought we were flying over the conference.
Here in the SEC, we don't act like them boys in the flyover conference. So, Commissioner Skanky, just wondering, is there a no-fly zone over Tuscaloosa? You shut your mouth, boy. Well, do you have truck stops here in Auburn? And what about Clemson, South Carolina? You got like, what are we doing? Do you guys have truck stops down here in Tallahassee, sir? No. And if we put one, we'll sell. Okay. Dakota Tubbs, Subarus are terrible for our national parks. Listen, saying things like that, and if you're new to the show, my friend and compadre over here, Jake, who we're not related in any way or shape or form.
Right.
Where's the Subi video?
It's right there. It's three.
Where?
Three up.
There it is. It says Subi on it.
Yeah, okay.
My boy over here destroyed Zion's National Park. So let me get this right. To make this video, I just want you to know the level of like
the level of commitment.
The level of ex-boyfriendry we have sitting in this chair.
Right.
He had his girlfriend
At the time.
Yeah. That was several girlfriends ago.
Yeah.
And you dumped her.
Yeah.
Okay. Another girl he broke up with over text.
That's actually not true. That's not true.
Well, same thing. Anyway, the point is, that's right. She came over and you guys sobbed together.
Yeah.
That was one of those breakups where you're like, oh, you crazy bitch. I love you so much. Why don't we smash one more time and then you get the fuck out, okay? And then, listen, I promise I'll be Greg Sankey in the NCAA. He's pulling out and so am I. Okay. So this cat over here had his girlfriend get out of the car and stand on the side of the road.
I was making a video for the channel
to destroy a national park. There he is destroying Zion National Park.
No.
You had her stand, and it was 36 degrees out.
It actually wasn't. It was a nice day. It's like 60.
Sure it was. It works better if it was cold, and she was really upset about it, and that's why you broke up. Did she dump you because of that?
No.
Funny thing is, Jake came back around the corner, and this is what he saw when he picked his girlfriend up. There she is. There she is. Her hair's a little windblown, you can tell. You know.
Damn.
She looks oddly like Aaron Rodgers. You know. Anyway, okay. Bill Walton is the one that started Truck Stop Conference.
Bill Walton.
No.
And you wonder why your conference doesn't exist anymore.
Jimmy Otson, Utah, Arizona State, all getting new truck stops. I've heard that. Right. James, not true. I've been as far west as Vegas. Seen Utah. Hey, man.
Hey, Monty.
You know what? It almost killed my beautiful horse Lightning. But I saw them boys out there in Utah. I seen Utah. And let me tell you something, them Utes are scary. You'd never ride faster and spur that horse in his balls when you got some Utes behind you. BYU, Utah State, Arizona, and Arizona State in person. Okay. That's cool. All getting new truck stops, yes. If you go to an Auburn game, go to Mama Goldberg's for a sandwich. Best sub ever. And she'll pour that gravy right on top of it.
Oh, is that what we're calling it now?
Open-faced. And you just, all you have to do, you just flick those little green flecks of mold, just flick them right off of there. Because, I mean, you've never had the intestinal fortitude you get when you go to Mama Goldberg's and you get that open-faced pork belly sandwich with that gravy. Oh, my God. Let me tell you what. Okay. Mike Smith, was there a last soaking session before the breakup asking for a Mormon friend?
No, there was not, actually. No, there wasn't.
Delaric. Bill Walton is the one that started Truck Stop Conference. Okay. Yes, Mike Smith says the raccoon video.
Yeah.
All 12 horses putting in that work. Exactly. All 12 horsepower. It's 12 horsepower. You know, anyway. What are you looking at your phone?
Chris Lowe at ESPN.
Yes.
Is reporting that Alabama AD Greg Byrne had a year's notice on Saban's situation.
You should watch the Monty Show.
We told you that. Finally, someone's reporting it.
I can only say it so many times. How many effing times do I have to be right? Oh, excuse me. How many effing times do I have to be right before you people will understand? I'm good looking and real. That's it. I'm just really good looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, we told you on the show, they knew that this was his last season. And remember what I said, I still think it's one of the great cover-ups in the history of college football.
Yeah.
How that did not leak, I will never know. I will never know. And the fact he lied right to Pat McAfee's face is amazing. And I still love it. I love it. Washington State, go Cougs. Can the cyber truck stop at truck stops? Don't believe that it can.
Damn.
Don't believe that it can. Mike Smith, Cybertruck can only stop at truck stop websites, not the physical truck stop. I think that's true.
Okay.
Stepanek, good morning to you, my friend. Dev MCC, thinking about visiting Provo for the Oak State BYU football game this fall. Do you guys recommend? Yes.
Yeah, Provo's awesome, dude.
It is one of the most beautiful football venues you will ever go to. The food's amazing. If you like white people, and I'm not even saying that to be jarring. It's a beautiful place to watch a football game. And I think if you have a chance to go and watch a game at BYU, it's beautiful. Mama Goldberg's for all you mud butt water needs.
Mud butt
water needs. Yes,
bro.
Monty is about to own an over-glorified lawnmower with tons of safety features.
Let's talk about it.
No, I don't want to talk. It hurts.
Why does it hurt?
Because you talked her into a Subaru.
Right, but you keep forgetting the positive part.
I'm not. There is no positive part.
Yes, there is, bro. The scheming that I've done here is truly God tier. I have put you in a position to go out and save $400 a month so you can take that money and go and get a Porsche.
Dumb fuck.
Yeah, you are a dumb fuck for not doing this.
There is no.
There
okay.
is.
I would agree. You rock a Porsche Cayenne next to a Subaru. The Subaru looks better.
It does.
Not than the Cayenne, but it like raises.
Yeah.
That doesn't change the fact that your bumper falls off every time you fart in that car.
No, it doesn't.
Is that not true?
It's not.
Okay.
No.
D-Rock Irish, I go to this show to get the latest and the greatest. Thank you. I appreciate
Damn right
that.
you do.
Eric and Raleigh, James, is BYU's football stadium beautiful? Ooh. Yes, it is. OG Gary, wear neutral colors if you're going to go to Provo and watch football, and don't cheer for either team and you will be safe. Listen. BYU fans are friendly and inviting.
And they're the best. They got to be godly.
Look at what Utah fans did to Max Hall's mom.
Yeah. Come on.
Are you kidding me?
In God's name, image, and likeness.
James, Dev, get there to Provo early, like 3 hours. Plenty of restaurants near Lavelle Edwards. Make sure you park before they close off the road in front. Go down 3 blocks. Good parking at a lawyer's office. Well, now that lawyer tows you. So, yeah. Mike Smith, fart bumpers are a myth that has been debunked. When we went to Arches last summer with the now defunct girlfriend, I guess it was 2 summers ago. That was a long time ago already.
Yeah.
3 summers ago?
Sure.
Whatever. We go to Arches. Jake pulls into a grocery store parking lot in the Subi.
Huh?
What happened?
Yeah. I pulled too far forward onto a parking block, and that knocked my bumper off. Partially. That doesn't mean that if you fart, the bumper is going to fall off. Freaking jagoffs.
Subaru, what is that backwards? You rab us. You rab us.
Okay.
You rab us. How's your you rab us doing?
Bro.
If she buys a Subaru this weekend, I will never forgive you.
Why?
Because today, my wife, you want to know my life? You want to know my life? My wife's picking up her $3,000 road bike today.
See? So she puts more money into her bike than she is into a Subaru.
They are cheap.
Yeah. I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand.
You know what her criteria for a new car was? Hey, make sure that the hatchback, she doesn't know anything about cars. Make sure the hatchback is big enough so I can put my bike in there. Jake's like, oh, sue me, bro. Join the family.
Well, she also said her criteria was to lower her payment. So you're not going to do that in a Beamer or an Audi.
Yeah, Mrs. Monty is currently driving a pimped out Jeep Wrangler Rubicon.
Yeah.
That we lifted and wheels and tires and electronic steps and all this stuff. And she wants to lower her payment. So Jake convinced her that getting a Datsun B210 would be a good move. So we're going to go get a Subaru. You know, I'm just saying. You are a bus, Monty. I'm a bus. Okay. I want a bra bus. Okay. You are is that what Subaru spells backwards? No. What are you talking? Okay. Does James need his own segment to watch Monty lose his mind? And maybe J2H will fall back on in love with James.
Nah.
Have you fallen out of love with James?
Yes. We've discussed this. discussed this.
Stay hard.
Yeah, we've discussed this, dude.
I'm a good listener. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, the tough part is the distance is, it's a lot, and I just couldn't figure it out. So
Doesn't James live in Austin, Texas?
Sure, yeah.
Jake's not secretly involved with James. It's a joke on the show. We call James put all of his personal banking information on Twitter. And then couldn't figure out how to undo that. And so we called it. He put his phone number on.
I'm a good listener.
So we called him, and Jake was on the phone with him and genuflected and said,
You want to?
he was getting off the phone with James. He's like, all right, love you, man. Still one of the greatest moments
And
ever
so
on the
that
show.
turned into me being in love with James, and we're in a relationship and all this nonsense.
It is. You are a bus. Okay. You're correct, Matt. It is. You are a bus.
I'm not sure how that's relevant, though.
Eric and Raleigh, Subi for safety. Okay. The next thing Jake is going to tell Britt is to go catless and tune the engine. Hey, now, look, Mrs. Monty. Listen, take my word for it. I'm cob tuned over here.
You're such an asshole. Oh, my God.
Listen. I can't even. Mrs. Monty, listen, babe.
I will say, if you made like an Outback or a Forester catless, it would be so obnoxious.
Why don't you join the Hoonigan squad?
It's an erection.
My life is over. It's over. Mike Smith. Mrs. Monty buys a Subaru. Monty removes Jake from the will and starts using AI Jake as a partner on the show. Did you see AI Trump with all the different minority groups? It was so good. So good. Let's see. Brandon Butler, the Jeep would at least maintain its resale value until the end of time. Wrangler's rule.
Okay, so this is the conversation, though, in all seriousness. So the conversation was that Mrs. Monty wanted an EV originally, right? That was the thing. Hey, I want an EV.
And we looked at the Saltair.
The Saltair, and then you looked at one other one, right? The Lexus one, I think it was.
RX, she doesn't want it.
And the problem is that the EVs are too expensive, right? The EVs are like 50 grand at least. Like that's
then it's between 1,500 and 3,000 to get the electrical charging station installed in your garage.
When you're talking about trading in a built Rubicon, obviously you're not going to get 100% value for the parts you put on it.
We went to a whole Subaru dealer, which pretty much, you know what drives me crazy about the whole motif of Subaru? We walked into the Subaru dealer and it was, hey, bruh, saw, dude. And you're wearing flannels and backwards. I want to buy a car, man. Anyway. So we go in there and we're like, okay, hey, here's our Jeep. Let's value it. Okay, great. $31,000. That's what we'll give you for it. That's the Kelley Blue Book value for a base model Rubicon.
Yeah.
And the guy straight up said, well, we don't really want them here. We have them on our lot. We don't want them here. So you're lowballing me because I think they probably were not excited to sell us a Saltair because they didn't have the model we wanted. And then you pretty much said, I never want you to come back here because here's a lowball kneecap offer on your built Rubicon that everywhere else is selling for $50,000. We only asked them, we wanted 36,000 or something stupid like that for our Jeep, right? They're like 31. It's like, dude, it's selling for 50 and I should legitimately be asking you for 45. We really wanted this Saltair.
So, with that being the case, getting into an Outback or a Forester is much easier.
Let's see. Brabus is the German equivalent of Hennessy Tuning Company. Okay. Big Blue Horse says, Monty, enjoy the bougie old lady hipster wagon. Exactly.
But you know what nobody talks about? And this is what I think is hilarious. Nobody talks about the fact that they actually are very reliable and they can get you around anywhere you need to go.
Subaru is not a bad car. It is not a bad car. It is not a POS.
It's not a performance car, and it's not trying to be a performance car.
But I don't need it to be a performance car. I have a Hemi V8. I don't need a performance car. But it just... The car market's broken right now. Let's just be honest about it. The car market's broken.
It's okay to say that you yourself would never buy a Subaru. And I'm not saying you should ever buy a Subaru. It doesn't work for what you want. But what I'm telling you is that living in Salt Lake, there's a reason that they dominate the market here. There's a reason.
They're great in the snow. Yeah. Let's see. Oak State James says Jake is cool.
Okay.
Caleb, it's just so easy to say I love you at the end of a phone call. Jake, just easy going.
Yeah, I was just trying to be nice to the guy. The guy was about to get scammed out of his life savings. I was just trying to be positive.
Larry Miller Subaru. Eric and Raleigh, they wanted to sell it for 50 after paying you 31. That's exactly right.
And so that's the problem.
We have a really nice Jeep.
Yeah.
I'm not even bragging, or we built this thing on NIL, right? Like we crushed it. It's got a 3.5-inch Terraflex lift on it. It's got the best wheel carrier. It's got a Terraflex wheel carrier on it.
Stay home.
It's got Rock Slide USA side steps, which are electrical. They drop down. You close the door, they pick back up. It's got the bullet point phone holder system in it. Like, it's got everything you want in a Jeep. There's room to grow it. That's one of the big complaints in the Jeep community. Well, you did so much, I can't do anything. Add a winch, put some lights on it. That's all it needs. Because it's got great tires, great wheels, great lift. It's got Fox shocks, reservoir shocks on it all the way around. Like, it's a great build. It's got the Fox stabilizer on the front end. It's got the new steering, like everything you want. 31,000. And that was it. We were like, all right, see you later. And James, they're lowballing you because they make more on used than new cars. Yes, that's correct.
So the flip side, though, is that with an Outback or a Forester, whatever she winds up doing, is that you can get these cars for really good value.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can be under 30,000, good mileage. And for you guys with your credit situation and how qualified you are, like I would not be surprised if you were like $400.
Are you ready?
Sure.
Oh, Subaru makes very safe, beautiful cars. It's why I bought one for my 75-year-old grandmother. And really, it's just mother, but grandmother made it sound better. They're lowballing you. Yes. Eric and Raleigh, we built this Jeep on NIL.
Mm-hmm.
We built this program on NIL.
Brandon Butler. The Jeep is capital S sexy, and you can always upgrade. I love the Jeep. It's just not, the other problem, we don't drive very often. When we go down to the GZ for golf, we take the Grand Cherokee.
Mm-hmm.
The Jeep is fun in the snow. We do off-road it in the summer. We took it to Arches. We took it to Little Moab. We took it to Moab. Like, we did Fins and Things, which is a great trail in Moab. Like, it's a great unit.
Yeah.
We just don't drive enough. And I don't believe that it is practical for Mrs. Monty. And Mrs. Monty is a bit of an environmentalist. She wants better gas mileage. She wants a lower payment. And I'm here for it. I don't even disagree with her. I really wouldn't be that upset if she got a Subaru. I wouldn't, because there is value in, hey, I'm going to trade my Jeep in probably in a year, my Grand Cherokee. What am I going to get at that point? I have no idea.
Well, and I think, again, from your standpoint, the reason I like this for you is because let's say you did get something nice. Let's just say you popped off and got your Cayenne or whatever you got, X5M, whatever, right? Like, whatever higher end model. The beautiful thing is you can put the miles on the Subaru and it's still going to hold its value.
Yep.
And so you can play that game. And that's one of the hard things in your situation right now with the Rubicon is to make no mistake about it. The Rubicon is awesome. It's also a handful to drive.
Yep.
On the day-to-day.
All right, real quick. I want to get to this Oakland A stadium thing. Did you guys see this situation in Las Vegas? So John Fischer is the owner of the Oakland A's. He is a billionaire. He is the heir to the Gap fortune, the clothing store, the Gap. He's a billionaire by any way you slice it. He originally was involved in keeping the San Francisco Giants in San Francisco, was a minority investor in that, kept a share until he bought the A's. He buys the A's, and now he has got a deal in place, and I think it's $380 million in public money, going to build a stadium on the Las Vegas Strip. And they had not released renderings or the full financial picture. Well, now we know the full financial picture. There's financing in place. This is probably 3.5, 4 years away from coming to fruition. And while we look at these pictures, the question I'm going to ask you is, how much more bandwidth for sports does Las Vegas have? Because F1 by any measure was a disaster in Las Vegas. They lost a crap ton of money on it. The citizens, the workers, the laborers that keep that town moving hated it. It screwed them. It made their lives impossible. They still have not removed all the infrastructure from that race. Like it was a brutal toll it took. And then they just dropped the Super Bowl right on top of Vegas after that. Like it was not good. How much more bandwidth for professional sports does Vegas have? Here are the renderings of the Las Vegas A's new stadium. And it is beautiful. I think it is incredible. You look at the net, that wall at the back here of the stadium, that is glass and net combined. I think it's gorgeous. Yes, it looks like the Sydney Opera House. Don't care. I think it's beautiful. And you drop that on the Strip, I don't think it'd be an eyesore. I think it would absolutely enhance the view of the Strip. But is Major League Baseball fit for Las Vegas? And I got to be honest with you and tell you, I don't think it is. I don't believe that you can succeed with a Major League Baseball team in Las Vegas. The NFL is 8 times a year. The National Hockey League and the NBA, because I think that's what should go there next, the NBA. I think the NBA and the NHL are just enough. But why is the UFC so big in Vegas? It's occasional. Why did they even try F1? It's once a year. Every single day, 82 times a year is not going to, or 80 times a year is not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it works. I don't think that I think Vegas is very transient. I don't believe that you're going to sell out 30, 40, 50,000 seats a night. Okay, let's say are they going to average 20,000 fans a night? I don't know. My sneaking suspicion is, and having covered the A's and having covered San Francisco sports and knowing John Fischer a little bit, I think John Fischer will spend the money to win. Because that stadium is going to make him a lot of money. And his debt load is going to be managed very, very well. I think he will spend the money to win.
Mm-hmm.
I truly do. If they win, if they're in the playoffs every year, if they win a World Series once every 7 years, I think you could do 30,000 fans a day.
Right.
That's not enough to support a Major League Baseball team in a town like Las Vegas. You're getting that in Oakland. You just don't win. So they don't show up. I don't know. Is Las Vegas out of bandwidth, in your opinion?
I mean, I think it's not so much an issue of being out of bandwidth. I think it's more the point you were making about the style of the sport itself. I think that point about, the UFC being occasional is spot on. It's why boxing is so big in Vegas. It's why, these one-off things that happen once every 6-8 weeks are popular because there's build-up to them. And I think that for the A's to be successful, they do have to win in Las Vegas. I think, the other problem that I've always brought up with Major League Baseball is doing events outside of baseball. That's the beautiful thing about the NBA and the NHL situation in a lot of markets is they're because it is indoor exclusively and it's not a grass field. You have options. You can do things. And so that's why I say, like, I don't know. I don't know. I think that's tough. I mean, we were in Vegas, 2 months ago now? It must have been. And you don't really, and granted, baseball wasn't in season. So, maybe a little bit of an unfair point, but like, you don't really hear people even talking about baseball. Like you got people losing their minds in the sports book about some random college basketball game. They're not talking about spring training or what it's going to look like. And that's what I think is really tough.
We were at, what was that? Aria.
Yeah.
We were at the Aria Sportsbook. And people are losing their minds on the NBA. Like, we were sitting around a bunch of Knicks fans, Sixer fans, Bulls fans. It was great.
Like, I much more think that this kind of concept works great in Scottsdale. Like, that's what you need to do. You need to put a new building in Scottsdale.
I don't know how this works. The NBA in Las Vegas would be an absolute home run. Yet you're getting Major League Baseball, and I just think it's a mistake. I think Las Vegas right now is saturated, in my opinion. I think they're at their limit. And I again go back to, you have the Raiders, smashing success. Beautiful building. Multi-purpose building, concerts, college games, like awesome.
Everything you want.
You have the T-Mobile Arena. Great for hockey. You know, Golden Knights have won. You love it. Great for the NBA All-Star Game. Great for the Pac-12 tournament. Like multi-purpose, multi-sport, multi-event. Awesome. You have NASCAR in Las Vegas. It is one of the best events of the year. That track is, out north. It's away from the city, and it is a magnet. It is a great event. F1 was a disaster. I don't know how else you put it. They didn't sell their hospitality because it was so far overpriced. They didn't sell out their tickets. They had a lawsuit because of the stoppage. Like, the whole thing was a disaster.
Yeah.
And now you're talking about, and I think the estimates are what, 50,000 seats? And I just don't think that you can. I don't think that you can do it. Dumping 50,000 fans and even call it 30,000 fans on a Las Vegas Strip. What's the best part about T-Mobile Arena? It's not on the Strip. It's behind the city center.
Mm-hmm.
And so you park at City Center, plenty of parking, even on a sold out night. Park at City Center, you drive away.
Yeah.
In a baseball facility, you don't do that. You're going to have to figure out parking offsite. You're going to have 50,000 and let's say 30,000 fans walking the Strip at 9:30 at night. That's going to be a disaster. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I don't. Do you believe they will win?
Yeah, I think that they will. To your point, they'll spend money, and that will help them be competitive. Will they win? I don't know. They'll be competitive. They'll be. They're not going to be so bad. They're not in any of these games. I can tell you that. But I think the problem is that people don't understand baseball. They don't understand the nuance of baseball. They don't understand the little things the way they understand them in football. And so because of that, baseball's issue has always been that people just want to see the home run and they want to see the long ball, and that's pretty much it. And so you're talking about baseball being in a time where we have pitch clocks and we can't throw over a certain amount of times and have all these new rules. And to me, it's made the game kind of like, yeah, it moves faster, but you've lost the point of baseball. And I think when you talk about fans and people latching onto the game, they're only there to see home runs, man. They don't give a damn how hard you throw. They don't like.
But again, let's say, and I think it is, and don't crucify me when I'm wrong, but I think it's 35,000 physical seats. And they're going to have this terrace area where you're going to be able to put 10,000 fans in and around that area. So you're at 45,000 right there. Like, you're talking about 50,000 fans.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if it's a World Series game? Okay, cool. I can't imagine a Las Vegas MLB baseball fan going to an A's Royals game. I don't think 45,000 fans are going to see the A's and the Royals.
No, I mean, look, but I think that
the A's and the Angels.
It goes both ways, though. I think it goes both ways, where not every building is filled up every single day. It's just not how it works. Like Wrigley and Fenway and like the iconic parks are filled up because you don't have to care who they're playing. You're going there for the experience of the building. And they will get some of that because it's a new building. But once the new car smell wears off, what do you have? You've got a building in the middle of the desert with a team that's not New York or LA or wherever.
Yeah.
And you've got a transient town. Vegas is a transient town. Always has been, always will be. It's why it thrives and why it suffers. And so that's why I'm saying like, yeah, they're going to have days where they probably only draw like 20,000, like 15,000. But then they're going to have days maybe on the weekends where
when
they do a lot better.
When the New York Yankees, man.
And that's
when they're in town, you'll draw.
It's the D-backs' biggest problem, bro.
Yeah.
It's not we're not going to watch the Cardinals or the D-backs.
You're going to watch the Cubs.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to, I think that's a great point. I think that's
so you're going to do that same thing in Vegas. And I think the only thing that has kept the Golden Knights as successful as they are is they did the expansion process properly. You forced the NHL to provide the Golden Knights with great talent. You said, hey, you can go out under this set of rules and get whoever you want. That's why it works, because they're good and people latched on and they like gold jerseys. That's why it works. So
and it's 40 times a year.
Yeah. And going to an NHL game is fun.
That's why the NBA will thrive in Vegas.
Yes.
It's a pimp show. The NBA is that, hey, put on your nicest dress, put on your heels, let's go sit at courtside.
Let's get a steak and watch an NBA game.
Oh, Adele's off tonight. She's over at T-Mobile Arena for the Lakers game. That's what it is. Yeah. And, let's have a prime steak dinner afterwards. I'll see you over at Mastros. I'm going to head out. I'll see you over at Mastros. Like, that's what you're going to get.
Yes.
You're not going to get that with the A's, in my opinion. Dak at the Tubs, Sydney Opera House on the Strip. The stadium won't look anything like that once it's finished. I think it'll look close. I don't think anything like that probably is a stretch. I don't think that the photos and what we're talking about this is the rendering of the A's new stadium on the Las Vegas Strip. I would agree that this is probably not what it looks like at the end of the day. It will be in some form or fashion. It will look like that. And it's I think it's going to be spectacular. I think it will be akin to SoFi in Los Angeles. And if you haven't been to SoFi, it is spectacular.
Yeah, it
is unbelievable. But I think it will look something very similar to this. I do believe that you're going to see is this exactly what it will look like? No. But I think it'll be some remnant of that.
Right.
But you're right. It won't be, that's not the exact final outcome, right? Eric says Vegas is a hockey town because they won. 50,000 fans, way too big. Brandon says MLB requires a dedicated local population, which isn't Vegas. They already approved it, though. MLB owners approved it, I think, in December, November. They approved it. Based on my thesis project in architecture school off of the Lotus Temple, beautiful building has soul. This stadium feels soulless. Yeah, it does look like a Lotus Temple. I would agree with that. Go Cougs says could never have day games in the summer. They say that they have a ecosystem in that building that will allow it.
And I think people assume just because it's glass, that means that the heat's going to bake in. There's plenty of technology to have glass, but not allow the heat in.
And they say they took into account that. Look at how Tampa Bay is treated. Home games there are away games for the Rays.
Yes.
They are, and it's brutal. Robert Fowler, morning, Uncle Monty. Morning, Jake. Morning, Jake.
Yeah.
Are you guys still going to Mesa to watch the Cubs? We are. Looking forward to it. Jimmy Otson, 100 likes. Winner, winner, winner. Oh, are we at 100 likes? Hey, let's go. Yes, 100 on the dot. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. That awkward guy. People are clamoring to be sitting outside in a desert. Right? They're not. Jaron Eccles. That rendering looks like the Sydney Opera Hall. It does.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Jaron, what about didn't you ask me for the football and the hat?
Yeah, bro.
Tanner actually wants the BYU hat, so I'll give you the football. We never did anything about that. And finally, read this. I am terrible at this. This right here.
Yeah. Thanks.
Costco Cafe 150 will soon require a membership.
Mm-hmm.
So Jake jolted me out of a slumber last night.
Oh, my bad. I thought something. My bad. Sorry.
It wasn't. We were just. I worked out last night. Why? The gym sucks. Never mind. I love working out. I can't wait for the new EOS Fitness to open.
Yeah.
Pricks. Cafe 150 will, beginning in April, require you to be a Costco member to buy food at Cafe 150. Good or bad, Jake?
I think this is probably bad in terms of bringing new people into Costco. But I think Costco's making a statement with this. I think Costco's saying, hey, we've got plenty of membership across the country, so we don't need to offer this to just anybody.
Well, my perspective is they've told you very clearly their shrink or their shoplifting happens from non-members. And what is the number one way non-members get inside of Costco warehouses?
Yeah. Through the food court.
Cafe 150. And I think that's exactly what this is. They want theft and they want non-members to be a thing of the past. And their shrink is pretty low, but I think they know that this is a leak in the security system.
100%.
And so they're going to make you have a membership. I'm pretty sure Sam's Club already requires that. Now, I don't lower myself to Sam's Club.
Subaru drivers go to Sam's Club.
Yeah, I stay up here with the Ferraris and the C8 Corvettes. I stay up here at Costco. And I think this is long overdue.
Yeah.
I think it's long overdue. I think, again, I just tell you, Cafe 150 is brilliant. The fact that they serve light Minute Maid lemonade, the fact that I can get relish on a hot dog sandwich is amazing.
Yes.
I don't eat their pizza because it drips of grease. I will occasionally have a chicken bake. I only eat hot dogs at Cafe 150.
Yeah.
That's it. What's the best food item at Cafe 150?
Probably the chicken bake. Yeah. Their hot dogs are good, but the overall best is probably the chicken bake.
When they do that.
Yeah, that chicken bake is next level.
H.E. Pennypacker, the rendering of Utah's potential baseball stadium sucks. It really does. I'm not a fan. Amy S. Hope it means shorter lines at Costco's Cafe. Seriously.
Yeah. But again, see, this is the great thing about Utah. Go to Costco on Sunday.
Saturday and for those of you who don't live in the great state of Utah, Saturday at Costco is very different than Sunday at Costco. Saturday on the streets in Utah is very different than Sunday on the streets of Utah.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday is much better driving, skiing, snowboarding, golfing, you name it. Saturday is wild. Forget it. Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Yeah, forget about it.
Yeah.
So, you know what, Amy? I hope you're exactly right.
Yeah.
Scott Allen, I assumed you already needed a membership to walk into a Costco cafe. The hot dogs are bomb. You don't, but you will now. Capazzo, Brown 150. What a name. What's Brown? I don't know.
Okay.
What are we talking about, man?
Yeah, man,
I don't know what Brown 150 is. I love Costco hot dogs.
Yeah.
Now, I don't eat that very often.
Ketchup with the raw onions is so good.
It is, but hot dogs are terrible for you. The chicken bake, though, I think is the GOAT item.
Agreed.
When they do their chicken bakes right, I think it's very good. You guys are a pimp in every sense of the word. Thank you for watching the show today. If you are not subscribed, please consider subscribing. If you have not hit the like button, please consider hitting the like button. Thank you so much to everybody who watched the show today. Yeah, it's always brought to you by The Advocates, theadvocates.com. Get to your local Red Cross outlet. Use the sponsor code ADVOCATESSLC when you donate blood. Donate blood. The Advocates know how important blood loss is, and the shortages of blood in this country are terrifying. Donate blood, Red Cross. Use the sponsor code ADVOCATESSLC. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.